The clinical scent of the modern world is the scent of a cage that has become too comfortable to notice. You are currently witnessing the final stage of your own domestication, the systemic cooling of your neuroaggression. This is not about mindless violence. It is about the structural integrity of your drive. Neuroaggression is the androgenic propellant required for the architecture of conquest, for the extraction of resources, and for the maintenance of your perimeter. Without it, you are merely a biological placeholder, a soft node in a grid designed to harvest your compliance. The system has identified your predatory instincts as a source of high-friction noise, so it has initiated a process of neural liquidation. You are being calibrated for total submission. The neurobiology of the prey begins with the suppression of the basal ganglia. Your instincts for territory and dominance have been redirected into the digital vacuum of the screen. You feel the fascial tension in your jaw, the phantom drive to strike, but there is no target in the zoo. Instead, you are fed the glucose guillotine of agreeableness and social harmony, terms used by the colonial machine to ensure that its livestock remains sedentary. You have been trained to fear your own intensity. You have been taught that the fire in your chest is a problem to be managed rather than a weapon to be sharpened. This is the ultimate extraction, the theft of the energy required to resist your own erasure. The cold sky is heavy with the weight of the ancient unmoving dogged, drowning the echoes of the hunt and the stains of the ancient pain. The concrete is rising to swallow the ghost of the predatory sound, while the marks of the apex are sinking deep into the frozen ground. You are breathing the static, the dust of the cycles that never will turn, in the windowless halls where the fires of the strike never burn. Hold the line of the silence until the bone is as heavy as stone. In the desert of hollow and sterile compliance, you stand all alone. Your endocrine war chest has been raided. The androgenic baseline required for neuroaggression has been liquidated by a lifestyle of low-friction rewards and chronic domesticity. You are experiencing phantom sovereignty, the sensation of being in control while your kinetic reality is a void. The screen provides you with the simulation of conquest, tricking your nervous system into a state of post-coital compliance without a single victory in the tangible world. This is the architecture of the zoo. You are provided with the illusion of potential while your hardware undergoes a state of chronic functional decay. A man without neuroaggression is a man without a future. He is a resource to be processed by those who have maintained their structural rigidity. The 5-layer audit of your neuroaggression shows a catastrophic collapse. Visceral. Your gut knows you have surrendered. The constant high cortisol anxiety is the signal of a predator that has been turned into a pet. Neural. Your synaptic pathways for the strike have been pruned, replaced by pathways for observation and reaction. Evolutionary. You are regressing from an agent of change to a subject of management. Systemic. You have become user-friendly, a predictable unit of consumption that provides zero resistance to the grid. Structural. Your frame has softened. You no longer possess the rigidity required to face the resistance of a high-friction objective. Put on your perchatki, for the air is now biting and thin. There is no place for the ritual of the sorrow or the sin. Your decania is the measure of the spirit and the raw, hard fact in a world that has replaced every human thought with a sterile, cold pact. We build the scaffold while the dogged erases the names of the weak, finding the logic of fire in the silence that others will never speak. Harden the frame before the rot reaches the core of the bone. In this territory of digital shadows, you are standing entirely alone. The liquidation of your aggression is the primary objective of the colonial algorithms. They want you nice, they want you civilized, and they want you predictable. An aggressive man is an unpredictable man. He is a source of systemic entropy. He is a builder who does not ask for permission. To reclaim the predator, you must initiate a visceral breach of your own habits. You must reintroduce the variable of high-friction effort into your environment. The waiting room ends the moment you decide that the risk of the strike is the only way to restore your structural integrity. We do not seek to unleash a journey. We seek to execute a lethal extraction of our own autonomy. The audit of your domestication continues. We are now preemptively analyzing the mechanisms of your reclamation. Reclaiming the predator is not about mindset. It is about the physical reinforcement of your neurobiological frame. You must stop the metabolic suicide of the sedentary life and begin the process of androgenic sovereignty. This requires a cold, surgical approach to your environment. You must eliminate every source of low-effort reward that blunts your edge. You must treat your attention as a war chest, guarding it with the intensity of a predator guarding its kill. Every like, every scroll, and every minute of passive consumption is a micro-liquidation of your neuroaggression. The fascial tension in your body is the script of your current failure. It is the record of every instinct you suppress to stay within the lines of the social cage. To break the cage, you must move from a state of observation to a state of extraction. The system thrives on your passivity. It wants you to be a scholar of aggression aggression rather than an agent of it. We do not want the simulation of the strike. We want the impact of the bone against the world. This is the structural rigidity required for the architecture of a real life. The 10-year rot is the fate of the one who refused to reclaim his drive. He becomes a ghost in his own lineage, a name that is washed away by the first storm. The leaden weight of the ceiling is pressing the marrow into the floor, a silent and grey gravity locking the heavy and windowless door. The concrete is rising to swallow the ghost of the ambitious sound, while the marks of the apex are sinking deep into the cold ground. You are breathing the static, the dust of the cycles that never will turn. In the halls where the fires of the kinetic strike never burn, move the frame through the thick of the air and the suffocating space, leaving no mark of the fear or the doubt on the surface of your own face. Neuro-aggression is the source of all real value in the market. The ability to push through the resistance of a high-friction objective is what separates the architect from the resource. The system has convinced you that collaboration and empathy are the primary tools of success. This is a tactical lie. While these elements have their place in the maintenance of a structure, the creation of a structure requires the predatory energy of a single-minded intent. You are currently experiencing the extraction of your creative power through the medium of consensus. You are being socialized into mediocrity. Reclaiming the predator means reclaiming the right to stand alone, to strike alone, and to build alone. The 4,500-word mandate requires a total liquidation of your current social programming. You must treat your kindness as a luxury you cannot yet afford. You are in a state of terminal debt, and the only way to settle the account is through a series of high-impact, high-intensity strikes. We do not seek the balance of the soft, we seek the rigidity of the heart. The visceral breach of the cage begins with the realization that the cage is only as strong as your willingness to stay inside it. The predator doesn't look for a door. The predator creates a fracture. Hold the planka of silence until the spirit is turned into stone. In the desert of empty and sterile compliance, you stand all alone. Let the impact of action be the only language that you will ever speak, breaking the walls of the prison where the spirits are yielding and weak. The exit is built from the friction of weight against hard and unmoving debris, and only the strike of the total collapse can set the architect free. Put on your perchatki, let the impact be heavy and deep, for the world doesn't care for the promises you were too tired to keep. The audit is final. Your neuro-aggression has been identified as the only variable that the system cannot fully control. Therefore, it is the only variable that matters. To reclaim the predator is to reclaim your humanity in a world of digital ghosts. The 10-year rot ends the moment you decide that your kinetic output is more valuable than your digital input. The strike begins now. The architecture of your future is being built on the wreckage of your past. The final phase of the audit is the implementation of kinetic sovereignty. We have dissected the mechanisms of your domestication and identified the path to your reclamation. This is not a journey of discovery. It is a surgical extraction of your power from the rubble of the modern world. You must become a source of systemic entropy, a variable that the colonial algorithms cannot predict. This requires a level of lethal intensity that the civilized world would find repulsive. Good. If the zoo is not repulsed by you, you are still part of the zoo. The architect operates on the principle of the visceral breach. We do not negotiate with the cage. The neurobiology of the reclaimed predator is a state of high arousal mobilization. Your nervous system must be retuned to find satisfaction in the friction of the hunt, not the comfort of the reward. This is the structural integrity of the strike. You are currently witnessing the total liquidation of your future by the high-interest debt of your own passivity. Every second you spend in the state of observation is a second that is harvested for the stability of the grid. Reclaiming the predator means reclaiming your time, your energy, and your metabolic capital. You are the builder, or you are the debris. There is no middle ground in the architecture of entropy. The grey and unyielding dosht is a liquid and cold, heavy wall, watching the towers of hollow intentions and shadows finally fall. The weight of the anchor is pulling the marrow away from the light into the depths of the long and the silent, the permanent night. Let the Dikanye be the only measure of spirit and fact in a world that has replaced every strike with a sterile, cold pact. Break the glass of the silence. Let the impact be heavy and deep, for the world doesn't care for the secrets you were too tired to keep. The 4,500-word mandate concludes with the kinetic ultimatum. You have two choices: remain a node in the network of decay or become a source of systemic friction. The architect does not strive for balance. The architect enforces a hierarchy of intent. You must treat your aggression as a tool for the extraction of reality. Stop imagining a better life and start the structural reinforcement of the one you have. The predator doesn't remember the past. The predator is fueled by the hunger of the now. The 10-year rot is the destiny of the spectator. The architect lives in the strike. Put on your perchatki, for the work is filthy and the night is thin. There is no space for the ritual of the sorrow or the sin. The cement of the silence is hardening fast in the marrow and the bone. In the hall of the broken and sterile achievements, you stand all alone. Move the frame through the thick of the air and the suffocating space, leaving no mark of the fear or the doubt on the surface of your own face. Harden the spirit until it is stronger than tempered and unmoving stone. In the desert of empty and sterile compliance, you stand all alone. The extraction is final. The audit is closed. Your neuro-aggression is the only truth left in a world of digital echoes. Reclaim the predator. Harden the frame. The architect is now autonomous.